delighted to welcome Rabbi Sachs to Australia together with his wife, Elaine. Not only because it's a privilege for us to host him, albeit very briefly this morning, he has a very busy day, but also because of my own personal admiration and respect for the Chief Rabbi, that I probably quote from this pulpit even more than I quote my other mentor, Rabbi Soloveitchik. I'm also delighted to see that Rabbi Sachs has adopted one of our minhagim from yesterday, that, if it's over 30 degrees, dispense with the jacket. Rabbi Sachs is a living example of Torah Chaim, of a Torah that breathes and pulsates with contemporary relevance, and also the potency of Torah Madar, of modern orthodoxy. Show that it is not only potential, but that it has a capacity to reinvent itself and to prove that then bones are going to rise again. It is really my pleasure to ask Rabbi Sachs to speak to us just for a couple of minutes.
Brother Rabbi Ganendi, beloved friends, it's an enormous privilege to join you in this wonderful, wonderful community that has long been at the heart of Melbourne Jury, and to see how well you are doing and how well you are relating to your rabbi. He is lucky to have you, and you are lucky to have him. Friends, this coming week we're going to read the parashat for Shabbat. And we call always the Shabbat on which we read the Shabbat Shirah, the Shabbat of song, because it contains within it Shirat Hayam, the song the Israelites sang at the Red Sea. Az Yashir Moshe V'nei Israel. Moses and the Israelites sang together. It says Rashi in the Sugya and in Bomas where they discuss this particular passage, Sharta Aleihem Ruach HaKodesh. The Divine Spirit rested on all of them, and somehow they opened their mouths and came out with the same words, the same melody at the same time. And it is fascinating that at every other stage, almost, of the wilderness, Shah Kol HaChayimot HaChayot, the Taromet the Machloket, wherever else they were, they argued. But when they sang Shirat Hayam, they sang in harmony. And the question is why? And I suggest the answer is very simple. Words are the language of the mind. And when it comes to the mind, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. In fact, just to show that Orthodox religious and secular Jews can speak together respectfully, I once did a public conversation in Israel with a well-known secular Israeli, the novelist, great novelist, Amos Oz. And his opening words were, I'm not sure that I'm going to agree with Rabbi Sachs on everything, but then on most things, I don't agree with myself. So when we talk, we argue. But music is the language of the soul. Music is the neshama come articulate. And at the level of the soul, Kol Yisrael ki ish echad b'lev echad. The whole Jewish people is like one person with one heart. Somehow music is the language of spirituality. And once we invest words with song, then we begin to get the phenomenon of Az Yashir Moshe, of Jews singing together in harmony. It is extraordinary how all our sacred texts, we sing, we never read. We call it Kriyas HaTorah, the reading of the Torah, but it is actually the singing of the Torah. I don't know if you ever reflected on this. We have different melodies for Shacharit, for Mincha, for Mariv. A different melody for weekday, for Shabbos, for every Yom Tov. Yomim Noraim have their tunes. Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, their tunes, some of which are common and some of which are individual. And whenever we learn, we have one tune for reading from Torah, another tune for reading from the Nevi'im, yet another tune for reading from Ketuvim, which we use whenever we read a Megillah. And we even have another tune, with all the arm movements, where we're learning Torah Shabbat Peh, Mishnah or Gemara. So if you couldn't see anything, and you had no idea, you were blindfolded just by listening to the music, you would know exactly what day it is and what text it is. Because we always sing when we want to move beyond the gravitational field of this world, and we want to soar and fly and take wing toward heaven, then we invest our words with music, which means to invest them with soul. And once Jews put the words secondarily to the melody, then they become Ish Echad B'Lev Echad, like one people, and they sing in harmony. May we always, the Jewish people here in Caulfield, here in Melbourne, here in Australia, and here throughout the world, sing together in harmony, Shira Chadasha, a new song of thanksgiving to Hashem. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for those fine words, Chief Rabbi. It's my pleasure to invite you and the whole Kehillah, after we've all taken off our tefillin, to join us and participate in breakfast in the hall. As you realised, first of all, I'd like to congratulate East Melbourne Shule, in particular the president, Danny Siegel, on the wonderful achievement and the wonderful work that's going on at East Melbourne Shule. If you could pass that on to Rabbi Gutnik, and express our gratitude to you for allowing us some time with Chief Rabbi this morning. It's a really big honour for us, a big kavod, and we really appreciate it. And if I could just address myself briefly to the Chief Rabbi and remind you that we've met on one or two occasions before. In particular, I'm not talking about the comedy thing, that's another story. I hope you enjoyed it. But if you recall, the last time you were here on a Friday night, my son and I walked you up from the hotel to Caulfield Shule, and on the way you asked me to fill you in about what's happening at Caulfield Shule, a little bit of the history. Unfortunately, at that time, it was a bit of a sad story. We'd been through a terrible period of argument and court cases and so on, but we were ready to pick up the pieces. And we were just beginning. That was my first. I was just became vice president exactly on that Shabbos, and I informed you that we were just about to begin the search for a new rabbi. And your speech that you made that Friday night still resonates in my mind and the mind of everybody that was there. You gave us words of chizuk, you gave us a bracha for success and so on, that we should find the right rabbi, and that certainly is the case. That bracha came true. And Baruch Hashem, we are having success in many fields and revitalizing the shul. A lot has happened and a lot is still to happen. So therefore, I'm asking you again for your bracha, because we see that it really works. That we should continue to go from strength to strength. A lot of things about to happen here with building programs and all sorts of wonderful activities. We still face the problem of that's worldwide, and I know what's going on in England because I'm a bit of an Anglophile and I follow your career too. The problem of people coming back to shul, to making the shul the focal point of their lives, as you mentioned so many times in your books. So we need a bracha for that as well. So thank you very much for giving us the pleasure of having you here this morning, and we wish you continued health. And I know you're approaching retirement, but I'm sure that your retirement will not be a complete retirement, because you still have so much more to offer to the world of Jewry and to society in general. So thank you very much again, and please enjoy the remainder of your trip and safe travels.
Many thanks. Well, you asked for a bracha. First of all, please don't misunderstand. It is billed as I am retiring. I am actually moving on. And people asked me in Sydney and Perth why I was retiring. And I said, because I'm fed up after 21 years of only driving at 30 miles an hour. Because, in town you drive at 30 miles an hour, but once in a while you want to go out of town and really, really drive. So I'm retiring to work harder, not less hard. I'm in serious training for that, and I hope that will reflect itself both in some of the writings that I do that you get, and some of the broadcasts on the web, and so on. The bracha I give you is this. I mentioned just now a moment when all the Israelites were together and there was no argument and no division. There are only two. One of them I mentioned when they sang together. But if you read the parashiyot which we're going to read shortly, Truma, Tetzaveh, and then Vayakal and Pekudei, you will see the whole time they were building the Mishkan. There was no one. Moshe Rabbeinu asked them to give voluntarily. He didn't insist. Whoever wants to give, gives, and whoever doesn't, doesn't. And they all gave. And they gave so much that it was the only fundraising campaign in history where he had to say, stop, we have too much. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu understood. Jews love to give. And if you can construct opportunities for Jews to give, and if you are showing them that by what they're giving, and that only narrowly means money, it's really time and energy and expertise, then they will give more than you thought and more than they thought. And if they understand that they are building something together, each one making their own contribution, because every one of us is different, and that means that each one of us has a unique contribution that only we can give. And therefore, if you set out to build something, either physical or in terms of programs, or in terms of outreach, or in terms of getting more people to shul, whatever it is, if you build together, you will have blessing. And therefore, that's my blessing to you, that between you and the Rabbi, you are able to enlist the energies of people, allow them to give, allow them to build something together. And if you do that, then you will be blessed by the blessing that Moshe Rabbeinu gave the builders of the Mishkan, and that is my blessing to you. Yehi Ratzon, shetishreh Shechina b'maaseh yadeichem. May it be Hashem's will that His presence lives in all you do. Amen.